Hi everyone, how are you doing? It's Wednesday the 8th of November and I'm just back here with another video to just go over a few things that have been coming up in my mind over the last few days. Firstly, I just want to say I really do appreciate everybody who's left a comment, everybody who's subscribed. I know this is a really small channel and I really do appreciate everybody who has taken the time to leave comments and like the videos and so on. I recognise it's not a subject that we want to share with everybody a lot of the time, so I understand why people don't share these videos openly with others. But if there is somebody who you do know who may be able to benefit from gaining some identification with another person who's had time away from gambling, who you feel may be able to benefit from seeing that there is a way out, that there is hope, that it isn't hopeless, then please feel free to pass these videos on to help and support them, because that's ultimately the reason why I'm doing these videos, is to allow a little bit of light to enter into that dark world of gambling addiction, because we're almost seeing an epidemic of it at the moment. And I know some people don't agree with me, that don't agree with my viewpoint of gambling addiction being an illness, but I respect that. But I believe firmly that gambling addiction is an illness that's centered within our minds, and it's progressive, meaning that it can only get worse unless arrested, and ultimately it can be fatal, where many people sadly end up paying the ultimate price of gambling addiction with their lives. We hear all sorts of terrible stories of people committing suicide as a result of gambling addiction, being unable to get the help that they needed. And it's heartbreaking. So, like I say, my view is that the gambling addiction is an illness, and it needs to be treated as such. Given the fact that it's potentially something that can end up killing you, it should be treated with the utmost seriousness. So today, what I wanted to do, I wanted to basically go through. Years ago, I used to be on a lot of internet message boards and stuff like that. About 17 years ago, when I was really just desperate for anybody to try and relate to what I was going through, because I felt so alone. Sorry, I've got the dog barking in there in the kitchen. We've got a window cleaner who's cleaning the windows. I felt so alone. I felt so desperate. I just wanted somebody to be able to say to me, everything's going to be okay. And I used to post on message boards, and the thing was, a lot of people were in the same boat as me, desperately trying to overcome their gambling addiction, and not knowing how to do it. So what I'm going to do today, I'm just going to use this video to read through some messages from the past that people have written. Now, I've got no idea what has happened to these people, but I just want to share some of the messages that they've left for people, and just do a little bit of a commentary on it as well. So the first one is it's from a man who has entitled his post "Struggling to Quit." So it goes on. It says, "Hi, I said I would quit and not go back to gambling last Sunday. So last Sunday he said he would quit. He wanted to quit and not go back to gambling. This weekend I did it all again. I started after coming home on Friday after a long week at work. I suddenly decided I wanted to put a sports bet on. Suddenly the thought crossed my mind, which I never did. I suddenly decided I wanted to put a sports bet on, which I never did, as I was thinking bigger. I wonder if I can win big on the slots. So, you know what I mean? He's made this decision. He's made this decision that he wants to quit entirely. He wants to give up entirely. And after coming home on Friday, suddenly the thought crosses his mind, I want to put a sports bet on. So where's his resolve? Where's his resolve gone? Where's that determination and resolve gone that he had just a short time ago? It's disappeared. But then it gets better. He goes, I don't want to put a sports bet on because I want to win big. And I wonder if I can win big on the slots. So it's escalating from sports betting now to slot machines. So he goes on to say slot machines have become my biggest issue. Looking for the big win from a spin. Staring at the wheels and wondering the scatter bonus. Wondering when the scatter bonus, what scatter bonus it'll be. 1500x? No, more like 10x. And I spend so much money. I really despise gambling. Not just the loss of money, but the waste of my time and how it controls me. I still can't get my head around why I do it. And I think that's the sum of that crux is it. That's the crux of the problem. He despises gambling. Despises it. 2 seconds. Come here. Right, there we are. So he despises gambling, hates it, views it as a waste of money, but not only that, he really is angry about the wasted time, and really doesn't understand why he does it. Now he's got a strong determination not to do it. But if we go back to the beginning of the post, suddenly I thought it would be safe to put a sports bet on. That's insane, given his experience. The problem with gambling, it's too widely available. If I had to go to the bookies or casino, I would never go, as I'm tight, and drawing cash out of the bank machine would stop me doing it. But when money is just one click away and you don't check your balance, I lose control. I'm really annoyed with myself again. What's new? Just the fact I need to quit. And I've gone 7 months free before, but this year it seems so hard to stop myself. Anyway, I'm posting this to give myself a reminder. I really feel for this guy. I'm posting this to give myself a reminder not to do it. It doesn't matter how bad it gets, how much suffering you go through. At certain points, you'll never be able to remember that with enough force to stop you if you have crossed over into the world of gambling addiction. That's what it means to be powerless, and that's why it's all in the illness centers within our mind, because we can't remember with sufficient force the suffering, the humiliation of even a week or a month ago. And at the beginning of this post, it proves it. You know, I'd finished work. I hate gambling. I despise gambling, but I finished work and I thought, oh, I'll just have a little sports bet. Suddenly the thought crossed my mind. Anyway, I'm posting this to give myself a reminder. Don't do it. Be clean for the rest of this year and try to conquer next year too. I know if I can, I'll feel so much better and be happier with myself. Well, yeah, I will have time and I will have a time and a better attitude and outlook towards life and eventually a healthier bank balance. Yeah. So he sees the positive. He knows that his life would be drastically improved if he stops gambling. Now, this isn't just a realization that he's had then. He's had this realization and understanding for a long time by the sounds of it. That's why he despises gambling. You know, and he just goes on, if anybody reads this story, I'm sorry for the bad grammar as I'm rambling due to the rage and disappointment I feel with myself. So this is the thing. I'm posting this to give myself a reminder. I mean, I've posted on these message boards and stuff like that in the past. It's like, I'll do a recovery diary. All I've got to do is just write about everything and just remember everything. But this is the thing. Self-knowledge isn't enough to prevent a gambling addict going back to gambling. It won't work, because there will come a certain point in time when that crazy idea that, well, rather than play blackjack, I'll have a go on the slots. Rather than go on the slots, I'll have a game of bingo, and then before you know it, you've ended off on a full scale spree. So when in the steps it talks about powerlessness, it talks about we're powerless to prevent that thought from arising within our minds. There's a strange mental blank spot that takes place. It's like a short circuit within our mind that stops us remembering all the suffering and humiliation that we've experienced, and stops us utilizing all of that personal information and experience and using it as a power to stop us. Now that sounds crazy, because it is. It's insane. It's insane. It's a subtle mental insanity that we have going on within our mind, which makes our life completely unmanageable, which is why we're living in such a car crash when we're in active addiction. Now, again, some people disagree with me that gambling addiction isn't an illness, and that's completely fine. That's completely fine. But for me, the only thing that makes sense is that gambling addiction is a disease of the mind. It's an illness within the mind, and that it progressively gets worse and ultimately leads to death. I mean, in the UK, we've got the National Health Service. The National Health Service now treats gambling addiction. It's a public health issue. It's a mental health issue. Not everybody becomes a gambling addict, but many do. Many do. Many people can prevent themselves from going back through gaining loads of self-knowledge, which is fantastic if you can do that. But if you can't do that, we have to rely upon something other than our willpower, than our own power, to be able to prevent us from going back. I mean, it is reading some of these reading some of these, it's just heartbreaking. And you know what? This was one post and he never posted again. What happened? What happened to him? I don't know. But these are real stories by real people going through the ringer. Now, obviously, his story isn't going to prevent me from going back to gambling, because my own story doesn't prevent me from going back to gambling. I have to rely upon something. We have to rely, as gambling addicts, we have to rely upon something other than self-knowledge to be able to rescue us from the pits of gambling addiction. So I'm going to leave this video here. Thank you again for everybody who has commented, liked and subscribed to this channel. It's not a very big channel, that's fine, but as long as it goes in the right direction and offers benefit to people, then I know that I'm doing the right thing and on the right track. And besides, I have a responsibility now to the person who's still suffering. You know, if you've been rescued from a ship, if you've been rescued from a shipwreck, you know, you're going to want to help rescue others from that wreck as well, and that's kind of where I am at the moment. My only motivation is just a desire to help. I'm not an expert, but if anybody does find anything useful from what I've said, then the time and the effort that I've put into creating this channel will have ultimately been worth it. So take care, and until the next time, stay safe. Bye now.